In this presentation, we are going to look at the French invasion of Egypt under Napoleon Bonaparte. The French invasion of Egypt under Napoleon Bonaparte around 1798. A little background before the French invasion. Before the French invaded Egypt, Egypt was under the control of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire controlled Egypt, but the rule or the Ottoman rule in Egypt didn't bring out the positive outcome. The promises the Ottoman rulers made to the Egyptians could not be realized. Yes, they had their pashas that were in control of Egypt, but things were not actually going the way the people wanted. There are some factors behind this. There were internal squabbles, internal political struggles within these Ottoman rulers. There were also poor and inefficient expenditures of resources. There were as well very lack or poor personnel availability to take care of the control of Egypt from the Ottoman Empire. There were as well the issue of mismanagement of taxes by the tax collectors from the Ottoman Empire agents. Then and also agricultural practices were neglected, and this brought about poor harvest and poor economic returns. So for all these reasons, when the French made move to invade Egypt, the Egyptians saw the French as saviors, and they did not attempt to resist the French invasion on behalf of the Ottoman Empire. But there's a little thing we have to look at for here. For a good part of the history of Egypt, Egypt was under the control of external forces. A good number of these external forces took control of proceedings of the control of Egypt. Egypt went from one particular external force to another particular external force at the time in her history. And when all these things, all this misrule and inefficiency from the Ottoman Empire came to a point that the people could not resist, they became depressed and disoriented with the Ottoman control. When the French came, they embraced the French. Now, let's look at some of the reasons behind the French invasion. One of them was that the French felt that that the activities or the administration of the Ottoman Empire was having negative effect on the French investments. So they decided to also come up and take over control. Another was that the expedition of the French in Egypt had another target of weakening, or one of the focus was to weaken the positions of the British, who were also interested in taking over Egypt. Another point was that the French wanted to use this method to spread French revolutionary ideas. Ideas like equity, liberty, and fraternity. Hence, they offered social reforms, political reforms, and as well economic reforms to the Egyptians. More importantly, they also offered the Egyptians that they're going to put an end to tyranny, which actually didn't happen. Then the next one, which was the last one of the last reasons, was that the French also had the intention of exploiting Egypt. The exploitation capacity or desire also played a role towards this invasion. So these reasons together were factors that encouraged the French or made the French to invade Egypt. So the French invasion was led by Napoleon Bonaparte, and the battle has been referred to as the Battle of Pyramid. Well, the French invasion and occupation didn't last long, but there are some positive effects that the French control on invasion brought in, and also some not too positive. Let's look at some of them. One of them that was that the French invasion and occupation, short-lived occupation, provided opportunity for an African country to gain some awareness on remarkable technological advances that had been taking place in Western Europe in the past 3 centuries. Another thing was that the native Egyptians were given the opportunity to participate in the administration of their country. They formed the majority in the local and district councils. At the central council, they were called Diwan, and this Diwan was as well dominated by the Ulama, who were as well native Egyptians. Well, another thing was that Napoleon Bonaparte revived interest in the writing and learning of Egyptian civilization and history. There were also a number of scientists, French scientists, who accompanied this French expedition and brought in some features which were complete cultural orientation of the French, which some ulamas, which were native Egyptians, adhered to and embraced. One another point was that the French presence provided a reliable source for information for writers of history, especially from the conquests of the French occupation. This was because some information were documented, which gave the opportunity for people to make reference to them. Well, another thing as well we have to look at for was that during the short period that the French occupied Egypt, some newspapers were founded. Precisely two newspapers were founded. One of them was written in an Arabic language. The founding of these newspapers as well played a very important role towards Egyptian nationalism and their struggle against foreign rule. The next point we have to look at for was that the expedition established an enduring link between France and Egypt. It established a very good link between France and Egypt. The French expedition as well tried to show the importance of Egypt as a link, the importance of Egypt as a link between Europe and India. Well, to prevent the French from achieving their objective in Egypt, the British forces intercepted and defeated the French fleet at Abukar Bay in August 1798. The French were forced to withdraw from Egypt in 1801. The French departure from Egypt brought back the Mamluks to power, and they once again exhibited their rivalry and inefficiency in power. Well, the British seized the opportunity offered by the French exit to strengthen their position and relationship with the Sultan of Ottoman Empire. The British aggravated the chaotic situation in Egypt by supporting one Mamluk Bey against another. It was in the wake of this confusion that an energetic man came to the scene and made himself an effective and real ruler of Egypt. This man was Muhammad Ali. So during the reign of Muhammad Ali, Egypt gained a whole lot of positive developments. Well, we have to stop this particular presentation and content here. Please subscribe to our channel, click on the notification bell so that when we create contents, you will always be notified. Thank you for watching this presentation. We also encourage you to go to our other presentations in order to get to know more about African history. Thanks once again.